Hey everyone, welcome back to the Phantom Llama's Den. Today I'm doing a kind of gun review on a gun that has actually been showcased already on the channel. If you recall, one of our first gun reviews on the channel was actually done by Steve. He did kind of an amateur gun review on his Glock 43X. If you're interested in that video, it's right here. I was actually very impressed with the Glock 43X at the time. However, I really didn't want to buy another Glock. When it came time to get a subcompact for myself and Mrs. Llama, I went a different route. And a little over a year ago, if you recall, I did my own review on the gun I purchased, the Springfield Armory Hellcat. Again, video right here. After having had that gun for over a year and taking it out, trying to get it broken in, and trying to convince myself that I really did like the Hellcat, I traded it in for a 43X. I wanted to talk about why I went with the Glock 43X over the Hellcat. I'm not one to bash products, and I'm not gonna do that with the Hellcat because I do genuinely think that it's a good firearm. It just didn't fit me personally. And I just wanna go over the couple things between the Hellcat and the 43X that ultimately led to me trading in the Hellcat for a 43X. Two things before we continue. First off, for the safety Karens, because I know you're out there, it is clear, but I also want to give another full disclosure. Obviously, I am in no way associated or affiliated with Glock. They did not pay me for this video. I bought this gun with the money that I got from the Hellcat. My views are my own. My opinions are my own. Your results may vary. This is just my own honest opinions about the 43X and the Hellcat. Now to start, I want to reiterate the reasons I bought the Hellcat over the 43X. I loved the texturing on the contact points where your hand and your digits contacted the frame. It fit the contours of my hand very well, especially if I used one of the extended 15-round magazines. One of the main reasons I bought the Hellcat was because of the magazine size. The smallest magazine capacity was 11 rounds. One more than the 43X. You then also had a 13-round capacity and the extended 15-round capacity. To have the same number of rounds in your gun as a Glock 19 when you're carrying a subcompact, that is huge. And that's kind of where the honeymoon ended. There is a big difference, at least again, in my opinion, on how they feel when you shoot. The Hellcat, despite feeling great while you're holding it, has a very heavy trigger. And I can already hear you, just replace the trigger. You're absolutely right, and that was an option I was considering. I have a friend that has a Hellcat and he's replaced the trigger and it feels a lot better. It's a much lighter pull. But the other issue I ran into, and I was really hoping that would disappear as the gun broke in, the recoil impulse, the snap after pulling the trigger, the kickback from the gun, was significantly greater than I ever really expected. Now again, I'm not saying this isn't something that I couldn't overcome, and I did. The nail in the coffin came when Steve, Aaron, and I were at the range, and that video is coming in hopefully the week or weeks ahead. They were both shooting their 43Xs. And I decided I wanted to try it out, see the difference, because Aaron had commented that my Hellcat just felt so much different from his 43X. That was when I became very disillusioned to the Hellcat, and I decided it was time to pull the trigger and swap it out for a 43X. What the 43X lacks in hand feel when you're holding the gun, I believe it more than makes up for when you're shooting it. It feels like a mini Glock. Of course it does. As Steve called out in his review, the grip is just long enough for your medium to large size hands. The 43X just feels so much more natural in my hand, and it just feels like a slightly heavier kicking firearm than my Glock 45. That makes all the difference. The biggest drawback to the 43X is magazine capacity. You're gonna get a lot of differing opinions on magazine capacity. You'll have a lot of people that say, well, if you need more than 10 rounds, just carry extra magazines. Or you'll have people that will say, I've been involved in self-defense situations and I've never needed a full magazine of 10 rounds. I am of the mindset that the more rounds that I can have in my gun, the more magazines and rounds I can have in my magazines on my person when I'm concealed carrying, the better. And that brings me to why I stayed away from the 43X in the first place. The magazine only holds 10 rounds, whereas the Hellcat could carry 50% more with the largest extended magazine. Those 5 rounds could be the difference between life and death. But I also realize, you know, in the heat of the moment, I'd rather have a gun that I'm more comfortable shooting or is easier to shoot than a gun that's a little more difficult to shoot but has 50% more rounds in it. I can just carry around 1 or 2 extra magazines on this. Or what I'm actually planning on doing, there's a company, Shield, that makes a 15-round metal magazine. It's the same form factor as Glock's 10-round magazines for the 43X. That means you can get 15 rounds in a magazine that sits flush with the 43X. A word of caution and note on the Shield Arms 15-round magazine. If you do decide to go with the 15-round magazines, you need to upgrade the magazine catch in your Glock 43X. Because it's a metal magazine, that can eat away at the polymer and over time ruin the mag release. So Shield actually makes a replacement magazine catch, a magazine release. It's a fairly simple swap in, swap out process, but you're gonna wanna get that if you're going to go with those 15-round magazines. I am a better shot with the 43X than I ever was with the Hellcat. Yes, I was proficient with the Hellcat, but at 10 yards and even at 20 yards shooting steel targets, I am much more accurate and much more precise. In all, I am very pleased with the 43X, and I really do believe this is going to be the final subcompact purchase for Mrs. Llama and myself. Again, I am not in any way bashing the Hellcat. It is a very robust little firearm. And the fact that you can get 11, 13, 15 rounds into that gun when it's about the same size as the Glock 43X, that really is something. So I guess that brings me to the PSA point of this video. And I just want to encourage anybody watching, if you are torn between this gun, or if you think you know what gun you want, or if you've always had your eyes set on this firearm, I highly recommend you go somewhere where you can rent a gun or try out a gun at the range. Take it for a few magazines and just make sure that you're not going to regret your purchase. Before I wrap up this video, I just want to thank everyone for watching to this point in the video. Thank you for all the support. The Phantom Llama's Den channel has been blowing up, and we are very quickly coming to the 1,600 subscriber mark that we wanted to hit by end of year. We've got a lot of great content coming in the near future. I've got a 3rd and even now 4th installment coming in the Trash or Bargain series, where the first did a review on this knockoff ACOG. The second was doing that review of the Amazon night vision goggles. That one's really blowing up on the channel. Again, thank you for all the support, and I cannot wait to show you what we have in store. That's gonna do it for this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and consider commenting down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Phantom Llama's Den and hit that bell icon to get notifications on all of our future content. As always, don't take life too seriously and make it a great day.